Hey everybody out there, Chris and Mike here, and welcome back to another Dark Avenger Comic Book review. And in this video, we will be reviewing the books that came out of DC Comics the week of
September 10, 2014.
the second week of the Futures End one-shots.
The 5 years later, Futures End.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, you said the second week of September relating into the...
We're at the midway point, everybody.
Yeah.
Next week, we will be 1 week away from completing this month's event. And as always, we're going to be covering all the one-shots that came out this week. But first, the digital first book. Smallville Chaos, issue number 2. Superman and Lois are stuck on an alternate Earth. And now they're fighting to find their way home. And things are really messed up on this Earth. The artwork, however, is really good. You got Lex Luthor, who's trying to save the multiverse as well. Hank Henshaw shows up. We get a glimpse at the Smallville version of Cyborg Superman, which is really nice. Give you some artwork of Superman. Clark goes to the Fortress of Solitude, where apparently Clark is dead in that world, and Jor-El kind of encases Superman in some type of a crystal. You have Booster Gold, who's trying to fix things. Lois explains to Jor-El about the multiverse, now they're from a different Earth, and Jor-El's like, fine, but take me with you. You get to see the crystal from several seasons back, which basically houses that Jor-El, and they jump into another Earth. Except it's definitely not theirs. I'm guessing it's the Earth where Clark didn't stop Apocalypse from crashing or colliding right into it. So, really awesome stuff. Really enjoying it. Left out all the dialogue on purpose, so for those of you that didn't read it, you'll want to read it. For those of you that are reading this digitally, this is super old news for you because you guys are already in book 3. Basically finishing off book 3 very soon, going into book 4. So this is old news for you, but I like the story. Really cool. Really fun watching Clark and Lois fight their way back through the bleed, through the multiverse, back to their Earth. It's going to be interesting to see if they actually pass through the New 52 DC universe.
Yeah.
Another book before we get into the one-shots. We've got Superman Unchained issue number 8. The Pendulum issue that was supposed to be out this time last year is out this time this year. And there's only one issue left after this. This book is the knockdown, blowout, explosive fight between Superman and Wraith. And man, oh man, the artwork, I'll tell you the truth, Jim Lee takes forever to bring out a book, but man, his artwork is just amazing. If only it was pre-New 52 Superman, man, I'd be happy as a, well, yeah. So you got Superman versus Wraith. Wraith is stronger than Superman in every aspect. There's nothing Superman can one-up him in until he uses the magnetic field in the center of the Earth to basically make him and Wraith equally matched. And then it just becomes every page, I gotta be honest, I gotta interrupt myself, every page by Jim Lee, I swear the artwork is just spectacular. But the fight's now an even fight, a fair fight. And there's nobody to protect Wraith. There's no army behind him. So in the end, Superman actually beats Wraith. We actually find out what Lex Luthor was doing with Jimmy and why he's doing it with Jimmy and what Superman has to do and who Wraith actually was, or Wraith's people, why he was sent here, everything. Everything's explained by Lex Luthor in the last 2 pages. And basically Superman is going to have to sacrifice his entire life in order to save the world. To be concluded. That's the very strongly abbreviated version, and Wraith is still out there, believe it or not. So he could show up at any time, or he'll just stay at the center of the Earth in the DC universe for the rest of his life. I don't know. But this is a really good issue. Jim Lee's artwork is beautiful. I just wish it didn't take a full year for it to come out. The story is definitely really good. It just should have ended a year ago. We're already in Batman's 75th anniversary. I mean, Superman's is kind of finished. we're going towards 80 now. Anyway, that's it for the books outside of Future's End. We're going to do the one-shots and then the weeklies. You guys know I always save the weeklies for last. And no particular order, but this has to go first.
And they're 3D covers, all of them.
All of them are 3D covers. You guys know that from the haul. No particular order, but this one has to go first because Superboy, Future's End, Superboy one-shot. I'm sorry.
Really?
The artwork in this book ruined it for me. I couldn't get into the story because this was some horrible artwork.
Ew.
I mean, their heads were this big while their bodies are gigantic. It's like
this is disgusting. It's all.
Look. And then I'm going to show you guys the artwork in the last panel of the last page. So there's apparently a league of Superboys jumping through the multiverse looking for a cure because Superboy has some type of a disease that's killing him and making him weaker. So there's a league of Superboys that are looking for a cure, and they're absorbing all the different Superboys from all the different Earths. So yeah, this connects to the multiverse a bit. And it's up to Superboy and the people he's working with to stop them. The people he's with, including Guardian and a few other people. Artwork really hindered me from enjoying the book. I wish it was the artist that did the cover. I forget who the artist is that did the cover, as a matter of fact. George Jimenez.
Yeah.
The artist, though, in this book is Ben Caldwell. Not saying his art is bad, it just doesn't fit in a Superboy book, that's for sure. Because of the artwork, though, I really could not enjoy this issue. I really tried, but it just did, you know, after reading all those issues of Superboy with that artist, I was expecting this to be, this is the final issue of Superboy, like the end. Superboy ended last month. This one shot was supposed to be the swan song, the final issue of Superboy, unless they do another volume.
Which they might.
Which, yes, but all in all, it just, the artwork and even the story itself really didn't hold me. I gotta say one thing before we continue. After reading all the Future's End books now for 2 weeks, the future for DC is the darkest, saddest future.
Going down the wrong path.
Everybody is suffering 5 years from now in the DC universe.
Okay, I'm glad
and that never, pre-New 52, that never happened. So I really hope with the Anti-Monitor showing up and the mention of the multiverse, I really hope somehow, someway, there's going to be a crisis. It won't go under the word crisis, the title crisis, but we need something that's going to shake up the multiverse again and change things, because this universe is not going to make it. I mean, there's some bad shit that's going down, and 5 years from now, if this is the DC universe, wait, it didn't even start yet. We'll get into other books.
Yeah, let's get into this. Future's End Constantine one-shot, issue number 1.
It's a one-shot.
Constantine, yeah, the book that I've dropped months ago and still am at that. But anyway, it goes 5 years from now, where I could just sum this book up. It's just John Constantine talking with this helmet here.
The Fate helmet.
Yeah, the Fate helmet. And that's really all it is. It's just, it's just a helmet just trying to get to his head to put on the helmet. And the helmet tries to take him over. The artwork's really good, though. I will admit that much. And when the helmet tried, in the other universe, Constantine used a magic that it was the official guy that's under the helmet, not Constantine. And they have this big, huge fight scene with each other as they're talking as well. And he's just saying, you know, the challenge that you made right now, you know, it's over, you lost, and that's it, we're done. And he kills him, and yeah. So that's what I meant about darkness and everything, you know. So he goes off and gets with Lloyd, who is taking care of business with him. And then they go off and it says next Earth 2. So it was okay, but it didn't really... I felt that it sort of was that didn't really relate to what's happening in the Future's End. It's more along the lines of a different story, just relating to the helmet, or what happened years after that. But I don't know. It was,
Future's End New Suicide Squad one shot. It's 5 years later, and God, what the hell did they do to the Suicide Squad? Deadshot is missing an arm. Amanda Waller is fighting against them, and she looks like Rambo.
Waller? Seriously? Let me see. Oh my God, what happened?
It turns out they tried to put Deathstroke's abilities into Black Manta and basically fried his brain completely. They injected Harley Quinn with steroid venom.
Well, that's what they do.
And made her into a monster. And it's like, what the hell happened to Suicide Squad? And they want to go after the people that did this to them and stop them and put an end to it once and for all. And then we find out that the people that did that to them and failed there decided to start cloning supervillains. Basically them. They have clones of Deadshot, Black Manta, Deathstroke, and probably Amanda Waller, Harley Quinn. And they're cloning them, and they age rather quickly. And we actually get to see we get to see several clones. We get to see Joker's clones, whom apparently end up killing 2 of the members right off the bat. And we get to see a clone of Deathstroke, who goes up against Deadshot, and Amanda Waller continues on with the mission. We don't see what Amanda Waller does. We get an epic fight between Deadshot and the younger clone of Deathstroke. And it looks like everybody except Amanda Waller is gone, because at the end of the issue, it's like, we did it, we shut down the main hub, we shut it down, we took them out. So this is basically the final mission of Suicide Squad, where they all don't make it back except for apparently Amanda Waller.
It's still White House.
Yeah, I know it's the White House.
Oh.
Things are pretty bad and pretty dark for the Suicide Squad in Futures, and that's for sure.
I knew the Suicide Squad.
I died laughing, and I was talking to Mike Spiderslayer a little bit before, and we were laughing about the whole cloning and whatnot. And we're not done with cloning yet, everybody. Stay tuned. There's more clones to come.
Now clones are going 5 years later.
Oh wait, there's more.
Oh, well, let's get into this Futures End Birds of Prey issue one shot. I thought of giving this a shot. I mean, I don't really know about Birds of Prey from there, but this is like just a straightforward book, really. Like nothing. Like, you know, like there's an orphan who, like the Black Canary comes in to...
She's leading the Red Hand?
Yeah, she leads the Red Hand, I was going to say that. Black Canary, and she saves this little girl from the orphanage. I forgot what her name was, unless they mention it. And she lets her join the team. I'll show you guys some artwork. And then 5 years later after that, she's training with the Red Hand, and they're looking for Paul Howell III for some stuff. And if you want to find out what it is, read the book. So they try to get there, and we get a Batgirl. What happened to her? Because it said you had to check out one of the Batgirl...
Oh, don't worry, that's next.
Oh, that is next. I see that, yeah. I want to see why she's like this, but yeah. She fights with Black Canary, saying, you know, like, what happened to you? You used to be, you know, that. And then she said, Barbara Gordon is dead, and, you know, yada, yada, yada. And Black Canary says, I searched for you for years. Like, she's trying to get her to join with the Red Hands, and she declined and said that, you know, there's only one Batgirl may be gone, but others can take her place.
Uh-huh.
In other words, just screw off and that's it. So, yeah. So it's like Black Canary was just trying to bring sense to Batgirl, but now I'm really interested to seeing why she's like this in your review. But this is really good. If you've read Batgirl issue #1, you'll know why. But I'm gonna find out now because this is just really interesting.
This is the final issue for Gail Simone, Futures End Batgirl, one shot. Okay, be ready for the most depressing book so far. Okay, before we get to 5 years in the future, let's go 2 years into the future. Barbara Gordon's getting married.
Okay.
And then her brother, Jim Gordon Jr., shows up and basically tells her husband, either jump off and die or I'm going to kill your wife. Of course, the husband doesn't know that Barbara is Batgirl. Barbara tries to take the brother out, however, to save her life, the husband jumps. So, she's just married and her husband dies. And she goes nuts and beats the crap out of her brother for a while. So basically her life's over. The person she loved more than anything committed suicide to save her. And that's when she claims Batgirl went away forever. The city took the last thing from her.
That's why?
5 years from now we've got the League of Batgirls. And I believe, spoiler, is one of the Batgirls. Because one of the Batgirls' names, ironically, is Stephanie. Spoiler.
Oh.
Well, yeah, spoiler. So anyway, they're led by, the League of Batgirls are led by Barbara, who no longer goes by the name Batgirl. She goes by the name Beast. Because she's a beast. Now, how did this happen?
What?
How did this happen? So, now we're going to travel through time. Basically, after Barbara lost her husband, she went deep undercover and started beating the shit out of supervillains. Like, she literally went undercover as a henchman, as a whatever, and then basically, when the supervillains like Penguin or Riddler least expected it, she took them down. Later on, she just got to the point where Barbara Gordon was gone forever, and she went to Bane to teach her.
Oh, why'd you go?
She went to Bane. So eventually, after proving herself to Bane, Bane takes her on, and basically, she becomes like a daughter to him. And that's when he offers her the Venom. Wait, you're thinking she took it.
I'm not.
So,
I'm waiting.
she ended up wanting, she was supposed to kill him. That was her plan. She chose not to and walked out on him instead. We're now back to the present where Bane is now back in Gotham and he wants to face Barbara once and, for the final time. And it becomes a knockdown, blowout fight between Bane and Barbara, or as she calls it, Beast. And in the end, you see Bane is trying to get into her head. He fails, and that's where Barbara Gordon finally says, you know what? I may have, because Bane says, you wanted me to break you. You wanted me to kill you. You basically had a suicide. You had a death wish the second you walked up into my doorstep. And she's like, no. It turns out I want to live. I want to, the good, the bad, I want to see it all. So then she admits to him, oh, by the way, I never took your venom. I made myself a goddess, period. And it basically ends with,
well, that makes now a better sense now why Batgirl is like that in Birds of Prey.
And it ends with Barbara Gordon now being back to Barbara Gordon and leading the League of Batgirls.
I know I could have looked at the issue, but I just wanted to hear your thoughts about it, because there was this...
this was the darkest and saddest story so far that I've read. There have been actually a lot of stories I've read that are bad. So, basically, Batgirl went down the shitter. Half the superheroes in the DC Universe have gone down the shitter. Let's see how we continue forward. Now, this book I never touched. I never read it once. I have no clue about any of the characters. I will soon, because it's going to cross over with Green Lantern.
And it will. In Futures End, Infinity Man, and the Forever People one-shot. And this book, I found this to be really interesting. This one. Like, first, Mark has a vision about Dreamer of what she did. And we don't know what it is yet. So, Mark is going like a little bit crazy, just saying like, like, how did we get here? Like, where is everyone? And Dreamer's really not answering his question, and like there's this whole thing where her name, Dreamer. Like Dreamer tells him like, you hurt me, and I don't want you to hurt me like that again, and it was just a whole big thing about that. By the way, here's some artwork. The Parademons show up in this different universe, which wasn't the team, and they have a fight with them, and it was really intense to fight.
It's good artwork, I will say.
It is really great artwork. And, you know, like Mark says, you know, am I to blame for all this? And Dream is trying to say it's not your fault that all this has happened, because he's blaming himself about, you know, where all this is. And nothing's making sense to him. You know, he's just saying, you know, I'm just going to go back to my own world. And spoiler here, he sees the other dreamer lying dead, so it's just a dream or something like that. So basically, Dreamer was punishing him for she doesn't want to see him die again, and she feels that if he goes into this portal, he'll die again. And not listening to her, he continues, he goes in and saying that all this wasn't real, where in the end, it's just like the first page where, yeah.
He's stuck in a loop.
And it's to be continued forever.
So basically, you can read this book front and back.
Yeah, I mean, that's really just the whole thing. Just the whole thing of Mark and Dreamer talking with leading into, I guess, something that's saying, like, you know, don't hurt me, which is what the 3D cover is saying, like him turning into something, and Dreamer's like saying, like, no, don't hurt me, because you don't want to be hurt again, and it was interesting, though.
Another dark issue, Green Lantern Futures End, Green Lantern Corps issue number, or the one shot. John, after everything that's gone on in Green Lantern Corps, and especially after the last issue, basically, 5 years from now, the man who didn't like killing is now one of the Green Lanterns who has the most kills in the entire Corps. He basically wants to kill everything and everybody. He has become basically very cold, very dark, and basically, like I said, he goes on a mission, and the one thing on his mind is to kill. And he comes back to Oa, back to Mogo. They want to go back to Oa. They want to go back to the Sector Zero. However, Von Dangle and I forgot the other person who went missing. Raimi Hall have gone missing, so he goes in as on a rescue mission. Turns out the person who had taken them actually is one of the recruits in present day DC universe for the Green Lantern Corps. John jumps in. All he wants to do is kill the guy, and that's where Indigo One shows up, and she's actually there to induct somebody into the Indigo tribe. And John's like, no, you're not taking my target. I'm here to kill him. I'm going to kill him. She gets in the way. They get into a fight at some point where she finally reaches into him and says, you know what? You're still carrying the burden of the death of Zanshi, and you're still hurting from losing Fatality. And that's where he just snapped and ends up killing Vertigo One. But it turns out Vertigo One knew, or Indigo One, not Vertigo One. What's wrong with me? Indigo One knew her time was basically up, and she was looking for a successor. And finally, John realizes, what the hell have I been doing for the past couple of years? And loses the Green Lantern ring, and guess what? Who didn't see this coming? If you saw the cover, you knew this already. He became Indigo One's successor. So he's now leader of the Indigo tribe, no longer a Green Lantern. So there's another superhero that bites the dust. John actually, in this issue, was severely out of character. Really, really dark and kill. That's all he cared about, was killing everything, and it's very opposite of his character and himself, and it was very dark, just very dark.
Futures End just ignited one shot, and in this one, it was really like in a good way all over the place, because this was my favorite book for this week. It just talked about what's her name? Miavin? Well, she's known as Equinox. Here's a preview picture of some artwork. And she's taking out this bad guy, Marauder, whatever his name is. And John is getting into her head, like saying, I need help. Like, everything's gone wrong, they are free. And we don't know what it's about. So, Equinox goes to Animal Man, telling him that we have to go to Mars and help John Jones to see what's going on. And she's just saying how Supergirl and Stargirl are not there to help them. They just went completely different ways. Supergirl I can understand, but Stargirl? Like, her and John Jones were like this. Like, what happened? So, both of them go to Mars, and they meet up with Cyborg and Vistok. And she tells them, I need to know what's going on with John Jones and everything. And there's this big security...
Hey look, there's Flash.
Yeah, Flash is in here. And there's this big security place that he's held in like a security facility where she's envisioning like where he is in one of them. And he's just saying, there's a big powerful thing, like he's blocking me and he helps set them free, and start with the letter C, and you're not going to believe who it is in the end. Wait, you're going to be probably shocked. So they're fighting off against people, and I forgot his name. Grodd, thank you. Gorilla Grodd, he shows up, and get ready for this. The person John Jones was talking about was Captain Atom. Yep.
Wow.
Captain Atom is the one that's behind the whole thing. Which kind of makes sense because he did not like the Justice League from day one.
And it's concluded in
it's concluded in Futures and Justice League #1.
So next week's Justice League one-shot.
Yeah. Captain Atom, everybody. Book of the week. Definite pickup. But wow. Just something else.
Alright, just in time, guys. We will be right back. We have a couple more one-shots, and then we have the weekly, so stay tuned. Give us just 1 second, and, well, stay tuned. Give us the 1 second, and we're going to click the button, and we will continue along with this week's DC books. Alright, and continuing on, we have Futures End, World's Finest one-shot, Huntress Power Girl. Now, Power Girl, we all know, and Huntress were prisoners on Cadmus Island. How did that happen? Guess what? We find out here. Power Girl infiltrates Cadmus Island in order to find, what do you call it? Helena. At least that's what I believe. I don't know. I got bored halfway through the book. So she pretends to be one of the prisoners. Of course, Deathstroke says, "Who are you? I've never seen you before." That's where she basically says, what did she really say? Like, she says, "Really? You're threatening me with a sword?" She beats the crap out of Deathstroke. However, 50 Sue shows up and beats the crap out of Power Girl, and she gets taken out, and so does this other person who jumps in. I forgot her name. I think she's one of the... I honestly don't know who she is. The Hawk Girl's in it. Shoot, she saw her in one. Oh. I forgot who she is. But anyway, 52 basically takes both of them out, and now they're both prisoners of Cadmus. And that's that. That's the whole issue. Power Girl trying to break Huntress out of Cadmus Island, and it backfiring, and her becoming a prisoner of Cadmus Island thanks to 50 Sue. And actually there is a little connection to what happened here, which is why I'm guessing it came out this week, and Futures End. We'll get into that in a bit. But finally this week we have Futures and Batman's one-shot. This was good. However, Batman also is a broken hero. His spine has been busted. His spine's been busted. He can't basically be Batman anymore without this gigantic exoskeleton.
The Banebrake is back again.
I don't know how, but Batman's just a broken down mess. So, what is Batman doing? Cloning himself. Or attempting to clone himself. I'll explain why as the series goes on. So basically he's gone everywhere except one place. The one person who's actually attempted at cloning. Lex Luthor. So he breaks into LexCorp. He breaks into the facility. Being Batman, of course, he has his ways. And it turns out that Lex Luthor has an entire army of Supermen that he's still trying to clone, just like Bizarro.
Well, we knew that.
So basically, Bruce wants to steal his tech to find a way to clone himself. And unfortunately, Bizarro shows up because Bruce mentions he wants to destroy the clones of Superman because Lex Luthor doesn't need to be leading an army of Supermen. And Bizarro shows up and says, no, you can't do that. Huge fight between Batman and Bizarro happens. Lex Luthor's security system is still fighting against whoever broke into LexCorp, which turns out to be Batman. And Batman gets out, but barely, and he gets the information he needs. And now he's working on making his first successful clone. I'm going to tell you why. Because Alfred says, I object to this. And he's like, noted, Alfred, but Gotham must always have Batman. No matter what happens to me, always. So basically, Bruce is broken down and dying, but Gotham must always have a Batman. So basically, he's cloning himself so there'll always be a Batman in Gotham.
Then how come in the future years there was only one Bruce Wayne and then there was Batman Beyond? There was no clones then, so how does that even make sense? Because when he's old and everything else, that's where Batman Beyond comes in. There's no clones or that.
So basically, Batman went into cloning himself, so this way Gotham will never not have a Batman.
That's ridiculous.
Little does he know that Terry McGinnis is about to show up and change all that anyway. Week issue this week was Batman Eternal issue number 23. This involved Catwoman mostly. Catwoman is offered a spot as Kingpin of the Underworld. We all knew this was going to happen. Batman is still fighting against, what's his name? Zachary Gates, a.k.a. I forgot who. But anyway, he knows that Zachary Gates is working for Hush. He wants information. As I told you guys back, Catwoman gets offered by her father a chance to be Kingpin, to unify the families and bring everything back to natural order. She walks away, but we all know obviously she takes it because of the issue we saw with Batman. We have Batman still trying to find information out about Hush. Finally, we find out that there's a gigantic earthquake or a tremor that's caused by Hush. He wants to destroy Wayne Tower, and basically everything but Wayne Tower gets destroyed, and Hush is very annoyed about it. And we have Jason Bard, who is an agent of Hush also, who has stuff going on. We got a rundown of everything that's going on in Gotham thanks to Jason Bard. We've got the crime war, Arkham Asylum hauntings, the Narrows, which is being infected with that nanobot virus. Hey guys, sorry about that. Unfortunately, cameras died, but this time we had a backup set and ready. Yep. So Batman Eternal, like I was saying, Jason Bard runs down everything that's going on in Gotham and then basically wants the mayor to contact the army and have the mayor force martial law. And that's where the issue leaves off. This was an okay issue, more along the lines of Catwoman's development from where she's at now to becoming the Kingpin of the Underworld, and Hush's plan kind of slowly fleshing itself out. I felt this was an okay issue, not really the best, but still okay. Which then, of course, concludes us this week in Futures End issue number 19. We're getting close to the beginning of chapter 2. We have Batman Beyond finally. We said it last week, but finally he's actually in a Futures End book. Him, Plastique, Coil and Key finally break into Terrific Tech. We all know why Terry's breaking in there, but Plastique really doesn't give a crap about the plan. She wants to find that body that fell out of Terry's shopping cart that looked like her. And you got Key and Coil who are at the rendezvous point. They make it to the rendezvous point before Terry and Plastique, and it turns out it was a trap, and they end up getting arrested. But Plastique wasn't there, so Terry goes after Plastique, and when he sees her reaction to her seeing herself and wondering what the hell's going on, he kind of takes her, and at first he's gonna obviously try to take her down, and then he sees what's going on and how she's reacting, and he ends up just taking her away. He says, "Let's get out. We got to get out of here." Then we have the meeting between Lois Lane and Shazam, the interim Superman. And she wants to break the story that Shazam is really Superman, and Shazam is trying to explain to her how important it is for the world to believe that he's Superman, and Superman's a symbol for hope and everything, and she's about to ruin it. And she's like, "Well, what about Shazam? It must be tough burying your own identity." He's like, "No, I know how important this is, and what you're about to do is going to destroy everything that we've done." And Lois has also gotten, who else talked to her? Stormguard tried to give her the same thing. She's like, it's the same argument every government uses to block free press. So in other words, she's like, this is free press, this is this is that. And basically, Shazam's trying to convince her, it's a mistake, the world needs to believe that Superman's around. And she comes to a decision, but we don't know what it is yet. Ray Palmer is reached out and is anointed by Storm, one of the Storm Lords, to be the next leader of the new Storm Watch. We also find out that Cadmus Island, all the superheroes from Earth 2 are now under Brother Eye's control, and 50 Sue made a deal with Brother Eye for something. We don't know what the deal was yet, but the deal involves Brother Eye leaving Deathstroke, Lana Lang, and Grifter alone. And then we do get a little moment where 50 Sue kind of takes down Power Girl again, and there's kind of a reference to the Power Girl issue here. And then the final page is the most shocking, and obviously Lois Lane's gotten darker in the future, 5 years from now as well, but she breaks the article that Superman is Shazam. And Tim Drake's the one that actually sees the article. So apparently Lois Lane doesn't give a crap about protecting Superman's identity either, because she just basically told the entire world, hey, guess what, it's Shazam. So she basically outed the superhero. So I don't know what's going on in the future, but things are really dark for the DC Universe 5 years from now, and I pray that there's a crisis that happens before 5 years later happens, or 5 years later somehow is prevented through Future's End, because if this is the future of the DC Universe, things are going to get really dark really fast, and even through Batman Eternal, things are getting really dark for Batman as well, as we're in the present right now, as we move forward. Yeah. And I don't
so
like
dark. I don't like where it's going.
I don't like the direction of DC either. I mean, I understand, you want to make something big, you want to show that the things are going to get really bad in the future, but the DC Universe has always been the brighter universe out of all the comic book universes. Marvel always had that neutral kind of feel to it. DC was always that bright beacon, that bright universe. I mean, when they did when they did Avengers versus Justice League, and the Justice League showed up on the Avengers world, and Superman saw how regular the Marvel Universe was, like, what's going on? Why isn't this like, oh, well, and then when the Avengers went to the DC Universe, it was so bright and clean and
But let's not
hopeful.
forget last year when we had the Villains Month, things weren't going so well in the direction of that, and then it went on the right track. So maybe there might be something.
Maybe fix it.
Yeah, maybe there might be something now leading into the right direction. But I hope so, because the darkness and everything is just...
I hope this is not the future of the DC universe, because if it is,
I'm not either.
when we get to this part of the future, I'm gonna probably drop off of DC completely, because this is dark. I mean, really dark.
I mean, I like some dark books, but that's just going into the
That's a
wrong...
universe worth of dark.
Yeah, it's just going in like a wrong direction. Not even that I like. Cloning now and everything.
Yeah.
That's not even...
Batman's broken. Cadmus Island.
And to think we had enough with Marvel's time traveling, going past, present, future, and Lord knows where else now. Now on planets.
Some dark stuff going on.
Anyway,
that's it for this review, guys. Don't forget to check out comic-related, Comic Frontline, and Zone4Podcast.com. Together we are your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. Feel free to leave your comments below. Agree, disagree with anything we've said and reviewed here. Recommendations, comments, your thoughts on any of the books we reviewed. And we will be answering your guys' comments in the comment section below as well. So feel free to ask anything you guys would like. And until next time, everybody, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys in the next review.
Bye, everybody.